So some of you may not know where Danville, California is actually located. It's actually located in the Contra Costa San Ramon Valley. That's just east of downtown San Francisco by about 21 miles. Danville is one of the only towns or municipalities here in Contra Costa that still use the word town and not city in their name. Now, with just around 42,000 in population, this is a vibrant little place to live. Not only is there just amazing shopping, great restaurants, just a great little kind of down home vibe, you also have the underlying feeling that you just belong when you show up here. They have greasy spoon little breakfast places. They got fine high-end dining. They have a luxury pet store if you want to go buy stuff for bunny fufu. There is just a lot of charm and a lot of history here in town. That's why a lot of people want to call this home. It's also an affluent marketplace where a majority of the folks make, middle, to mid to high, six-figure incomes. So with that being said, if you're looking for a place to park for a little while, this isn't so bad. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the pros, some of the cons, because not every place is perfect and you got to know what you're going to be buying in. Now, if someone had given me the layout when I moved into the current city where I live before I'd moved there are things that I would never have known. And that's some of the stuff that I want to cover in this video. So you guys stay tuned. Let's talk a little bit more about Danville, then we're going to get into the pros and cons. Little known fact is that CNN and Money Magazine both named Danville, California as one of the best places to live in the country. Remember what I said when it came to income? About the average income here at the household is about $151,000, give or take. Another thing that's really amazing about Danville is the Parks and Rec division. There are some amazing parks and school parks here in the town of Danville that just get maintained and kept up and really make it a great place. If you got little ones running around, this is a double thumbs up place where you want to park it, because you know what? The neighborhoods are great, the schools are great, the people are great, the food's great. So what are the cons? Want to find out? All right. Here they are. Okay, this is con one when it comes to living in Danville. It's actually gonna be really something up front. It's gonna be the real estate prices. Real estate is expensive here. I mean, we're talking a jump from what the median here in California is. Now, the median in California is about $553,000 for a home. I know a lot of the country is like, what? That's a lot of money, right? Well, wait till you get a load of this one, Batman, because this in Danville is going to be $1,285,000 is your median home price. So it's way expensive when it comes to getting into your first property. That's why a lot of people do buy-ups into Danville. They'll start somewhere else, buy one or two properties, then move into Danville, and they'll sit down, put the roots down, and then just enjoy the good life. So that's our first con. Second big con: there is no mass transit. Now, they do have a bus system, but when I say mass transit, there is not a BART line. That's Bay Area Rapid Transit, basically our above ground subway here. They would whisk you into the city, down to San Jose or down to Fremont, out and around the peninsula, so on and so forth, over to SFO Airport. There is not a station here in Danville. That is one of the reasons why we've been competing against other towns for, the best place to live. They do have some BART stations, we don't. So if you are a commuter, this is something to think about. Con number 3, and this would be the overall cost of living. Now, what we talked about, one of the first cons was going to be the cost of the real estate. You know that the cost of living is going to have to be tacked onto that, right? So when everything across the country, let's say everything on average is rated out of 100, okay? It's your baseline for the US. Now in California, your cost of living is about 240. Right? Cost of living in Danville, that just the housing is going to be 555. Remember, the average delta across the US is 100. But the good thing is utilities here in Danville are pretty much on point with the rest of the country. We're only at 101.3. So it's actually better than what you are in the rest of the state of California, where your cost of living overall, your utilities, is 102.4. So, you are going to be paying a little bit more for real estate. estate, but you got appreciation on that side, but you're also going to be paying a little bit less in your utilities than you would in some other towns and cities here in the East Bay. Okay, con number 4. Con number 4 is nightlife. Nightlife is a little bit on the lacking side, let's put it that way. Danville is going to have a couple of bars, not a ton of bars, so if you're really an active individual who's young and wants to meet a lot of people, Danville might not be the best place for you just based upon the interactions. Now, the good thing is if you want the Danville vibe, but you could easily travel to Walnut Creek or San Francisco or another city to kind of go into the nightlife, that could be an option. But if you're more of a homebody and you want to stay here in Danville and not travel outside what we call the bubble, then you know what? Nightlife is going to be a con. Okay, guys, con number 5 for living in Danville. Now, it's not really a con. It's just kind of an idea of a melting pot, right? So ethnicity and ancestry is actually something that's really always of interest to me. Did you know that here in Danville, the primary ancestry is German? Did you know that? 20.8% of the residents here in downtown Danville are German. They've quickly followed by the Irish ancestry. That's at 17.2% of all the people here in Danville. Followed closely with the English at 16.3%. And it's very fascinating to watch where all of our ancestry and lineages come from, how we all come together. So those are my 5 cons. Now, what are the pros? So here's pro number 1 for living in Danville. It is a fantastic place for families and to raise a family. You know what? I had been raised in the neighboring city, but I spent all of my time in Danville. I went to high school, elementary school, middle school, all my friends and everyone that I knew around there. Danville's just a good all-around place to live. Not to mention, they got a killer 4th of July parade that people come out from all over the place. If you haven't seen Danville's 4th of July parade, you're really missing out. Okay, here is pro number 2. It's going to be the schools. Now, I always joke around to the fact that I'm a product of all of those schools, and I turned out okay. But with all joking aside, it was actually rated one of the best school districts in actually the entire state, and in some places, the entire country when it comes to schooling. So if you don't want to flip the bills for those hefty private school investments, Danville's your huckleberry. Okay, here's number 3. It's going to be the food, guys. Come on, it's always about the food. There are some great restaurants here in town. I strongly encourage you guys to come out and take a look at. Like I said before, we either have like greasy spoon breakfast places, we got high-end fine dining, we got, you know, other restaurants that are just staples of the community. Where you go in, you get a beer. You got some great new pizza places that just popped up. If you want a little dueling bar, you know, dueling piano bar action, we got one of those for you. So what I'm saying here is that the food here in town is really good food. You don't have to travel a long ways for it, and I truly recommend, if you haven't stopped in to Pete's Brass Rail, it's a staple of the community. Go to Pete's Brass Rail and get one of those monstrous salads they serve up, and get a beer from on their taps. Okay, here is pro number 4 for living in Danville, California. It's gonna be the real estate property value retention. Now, I said that really slowly. I don't know why. But I do want to tell you guys this. You know, let me get some stats for you. You know, the median value here in Danville is going to be $1,280,000, give or take, which is more expensive than 90.1% of the neighborhoods in California and more than 98% of the neighborhoods in the U.S. So if history is telling you anything, you know that there's a story there that's saying when you buy in Danville, you're buying a rock solid investment and you're getting a good value for the long term. Now, I remember back when my parents bought in the neighboring city of Alamo, they bought their home for low 6 figures. Now it's worth mid, 7 figures. Now, in the appreciation time, do you think they bought a good home? I bet you they did. And I know you guys are going to enjoy it a lot too if you decide to lay down your roots here in Danville, California. And if you have any questions about real estate in the area, if you're thinking about moving here, pick my brain. Let me be your guide. Let me walk you through and find the best place for you and your family. Either myself or someone on my team would be happy to work with you. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed it. Remember to hit the subscribe button, bing, and that bell so you guys make sure you come and get alerted every time I upload a new video so you can stay on the hip and cool trend list of everything to do here in the Bay Area. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.